Good morning, year four. Today's lesson, we're gonna do grammar. We're gonna talk about adverbs. We took adverbs in term two, and we're gonna discuss now adverbs in details. Now, what we took in term two was that an adverb describes a verb. For example, if I said, I'm running quickly, running is my verb, it's my action doing thing. Quickly is my adverb. This describes how I am running. But today we're going to take that in more details. Now, an adverb is a modifying part of speech. It describes a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. So it describes three things. It does not only describe a verb, it describes a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. They tell us when, where, how often, and to what extent. Most adverbs end in ly. We all know that most adverbs end in ly, quickly, happily, sadly, all that. And another important thing to know, not is an adverb. So if I say I am not happy, not is my adverb, okay? Not, the word not is an adverb. Now we're going to discuss adverbs in more details, okay? So, an adverbs are single words which answer a question about a verb, or an adjective or another adverb, or a whole clause. We're going to take clauses later on now today in details. Now, what questions do the adverbs answer? Adverbs, they answer question of how, when, where, and why. Okay? How being the manner, when or how often or how long being the time, and where is the place and why is the cause. For example, mannerism, it tells you how something is done. For example, I ate my food greedily. Now, greedily being my adverb of how I am eating my food. The rain fell heavily. It tells you how the rain fell, or the rain fell loudly. Now, this tells me how something is being done, the manner of something. If I speak about time and I say, he went yesterday to the mall, he eventually finished his book, he finally finished year four, he occasionally eats chocolates. This tells me the time of something or how often or how long, okay? Where being the place, okay, tells me where something is. He found it inside, he found it outside, he found it nearby the treehouse, for example. And why being the cause? Therefore, the mouse ran. Consequently, the mouse ran. So it tells me the cause of something. Now, the types of adverbs we have, and we're going to speak about each one of them in details, are adverbs of time, adverbs of place, adverbs of manners, and adverbs of degrees. You have a few examples here in each, and I said again, we're going to discuss about each one in details. She will visit the hospital tomorrow. Again, time, it tells you when something will happen. Tomorrow, yesterday, today, now. These are all adverbs of time. Adverbs of place, it tells you where something is. I will meet you there. Go inside. In spring, flowers bloom everywhere. Adverbs of manner, they tell you the mannerism of something or how something is done. He quietly slipped away. She works fast. She ate happily. It tells you how she ate or greedily. Adverbs of degree, it tells you the degree of something where it is done. For example, I rarely eat chocolates. I always do sports. Tells you the degree of of how something I do it. So, for example, she almost finished the work. They were completely surprised by the windfall. All right, taking adverb of time as my first detail to talk about. An adverb of time, again, tells us when an action happened, but also for how long or how often. Adverbs of time are invariable. They are extremely common in English. In English, adverbs of time have a standard position in a sentence depending on what adverb of time is telling us. Some examples here are Goldilocks went to the bear's house yesterday. I'm going to tidy my room tomorrow. I saw Sally today. I will call you later. I have to leave now. I saw this movie last year. Now, this tells you when. When am I going to tidy my room? I'm going to do it tomorrow. When did you see Sally? Today. When will you leave? Now. So, all these are adverbs of time. Daily. Uh, I daily do my homework. I do my homework on daily basis. It's an adverb of time. Um, Next year, it's an adverb of time. It tells you when. Next year, I'll do that next year. Last year, this year. Okay? Moving on to adverb of place. Adverbs of place, they mainly modify a verb and tells us something, where something happens. It tells me where. All right? Above, abroad, anywhere, away, back, backwards, behind, below, under, down, etc. You have all these examples of adverb of place. Far, here, indoors, inside, near, off, on. The coffee is on the table. The kids were playing outside. So it tells me where the kids are playing. They're playing outside. Um, uh, I ran quickly upstairs. It tells me where did I go. Okay, so all these are examples of adverbs of place. Moving on to adverb of manner, adverbs that describe how something happened where there are two or more verbs in a sentence. This is an adverb of adverb placement affects the meaning. Yes, their place affects the meaning. It tells you the mannerism of how something happens. It tells you how it is like. Is it quickly? Is it loudly? Is it slowly? So it tells you how something happens. Some of the adverbs of manner are carefully, correctly, eagerly, greedily, for example, well, fast, loudly, quickly, slowly again, softly, and you can say he swims well. It tells you how he swims. Now, it did not say he swims next year, today. Now, if I said that, it would be adverb of time. But here it shows me how he did it. So how something is done is an adverb of manner. All right? Moving on to adverb of frequency. Now, adverb of frequency describes how often something occurs. Okay? You have this table here, it tells you always being 100%. So I always do that. I always do my homework. I always clean the house. Tells you 100%. 90% is usually. I usually argue with my mom. I don't usually fight with her, but it's usually 90%. Normally being 80%, so you can say, I normally exercise. Now, I don't do it always. I don't do it usually. I do it normally, 80%. 70% being often. I often go outside and eat fast food. Now, that's not always, it's not on daily basis, and it's not never, okay? It's often. 50 being sometimes. I sometimes play PlayStation. Now, I don't play it every day. I don't play it often. I just play it sometimes. Occasionally being 30, seldom being 10, hardly ever being 5, and never is never. 0. I never eat chocolate, so I never tasted how chocolate tastes like. Now, that's not true here. Uh, Moving on to a different topic called adverbial clause. I hope you all understand adverbs in details, and if you have any questions, please write it down on a piece of paper, and when we have our online meeting, our online session, we will discuss that. But I'm sure that you all get the point because we did that in term 2, and this is just more details about it. Now, moving on to adverbial clause. What is an adverbial clause? An adverbial is a word or phrase that is used like an adverb to modify a verb or a clause. Of course, adverbs can be used as adverbials, but many other types of words and phrases can be used this way, including the preposition phrase or subordinate clause. An adverbial can be made up of more than one word. Now, a clause is like a sentence, all right? Or when you say something, and I don't say, for example, today. Now, if I say in the middle of the night, the wolf pounced, I can say um, today the wolf pounced. It tells you when. This is an adverb. When is my adverb? Today. But I did a clause for it. I did a sentence. I used a sentence to modify my adverbial word, my adverb. So I said in the middle of the night, under the full moon. Now I can say under the moon. Now, under being my adverb. Now I have to describe the whole thing being my adverbial clause. Under the full moon, the wolf howled. With great bounds, the wolf ran. Tells me how. Due to the wind, the wolf sheltered. It tells me why. Okay? I can say therefore the wolf sheltered. And therefore being my adverb, but a clause again is not one word, it is like a small sentence describing my adverb. Okay? As the adverb as with adverbs, adverbial can be placed at the start, within, or in the end of the sentence. Now, the positioning of it could be in the beginning of the sentence, in the middle, or in the end. Like these three examples here. The wolf sheltered due to the wind. It tells you why, due to the wind. This is the reason why. Or the wolf, due to the wind, sheltered. Again, now it's in the middle. First sentence here, it was in the end. Here it was in the middle. And we can put it in the beginning. Due to the wind, the wolf sheltered. All right? Adverbials of cause or reason answer a question of why. They answer why. Here, they've answered why as well, and here are more details to answer why. Because of heavy rain, the tiger sheltered, or the tiger sheltered because of heavy rain. As she was late, the boy decided to leave. It tells you why. Because she was late. That's why the boy decided to leave. Since the scent was lost, the wolf stopped. Tells you why the wolf had stopped. Because the scent was lost. He could not smell it anymore. So that's why he stopped. We use adverbials of time to say when something happens. So I can say it. Now, if I'm gonna use this in adverb of time, I will say today, tomorrow, next week, last week. Now, if I say adverbial clause of time, I will use it as a sentence in the first week of January for almost a month, more often than not, okay? So it tells me why uh, in details in a sentence. Okay, so we use it to say time as well. Now you have here a table of adverbials, and it tells you use one yellow and one red word in your own sentence. Please make a sentence and use that. Try to find it and put a comma. Okay. Now here you have again definition of what is an adverbial. Adverbs are single words and describe and are type of adverbials. Adverbial can also be phrases more than one word. Adverbials are used to explain how, where, when, or why something happens, just like adverbs, but you put it in a sentence. It makes it more clear. They give more information about a verb, adjective, another verb, or a verb of clause. Now, again, it is the same thing. Adverbials is the same thing as adverbs, but it is in a sentence, okay? Describes it more. Uh, Again, in the middle of the night, the wolf pound, it tells you when, where, how, or why. Okay? Now, moving on, you have here a few questions. Please kindly read this in your own time. It explains everything of what I've just said, nothing more. Nothing more to what I've said. It is exactly the same. Now you have grammar practice. I want you before the next lesson to solve all the grammar practice because I just explained everything related, and and the next lesson I'm gonna give you the answers explaining everything. Now, one of the things you have down in the grammar practice is highlight the adverbial phrase. So it's gonna be, for example, in the middle of the night. The adverbial phrase, again, it describes when something happens, why something happens, how something happens, and where something happens. Okay? So you need to highlight this, and after the adverbial phrase, the question says put a comma after. Now, after the adverbial phrase, you put a comma. So if I go back here to my sentence, in the middle of the night, the wolf pounced. Now, in the middle of the night is my adverbial phrase of when. And then I will put a comma. Under the full moon, the wolf howled. Under the full moon, it tells me where. This is my adverbial phrase. And then I will put a comma. So after your adverbial clause, you put a comma. After when, where, how, or why. Due to the wind, comma, the wolf sheltered. With great bounds, comma, the wolf ran. All right? So after my adverbial clause, I will put a comma. In the first week of January, comma, I decided to run regularly, or I decided to run. For almost a month, comma, I am eating healthy. Okay? So after my adverbial clause is my comma. Okay? Can you see here? The question on page 20 you have is highlight your adverbial clause and add a comma. So after you highlight your adverbial clause, you will put your comma. I hope therefore you've understood everything, and I hope this was beneficial to you. And if you have any questions, please write it down. When we have an online session, we will discuss it again. The answers are pretty simple. I hope you may answer them all without any obstacles. And for the next lesson, we will discuss our answers. Thank you so much, therefore.